Hey everybody, this is Pastor Doug. If I could just add to last Sunday's sermon on that phrase, Word of the Father now in flesh appearing, which appears in the classic Christmas carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. Also, we find a variation of that, similar words, same idea in John chapter 1. What I would add to that sermon is a little bit technical. I referenced it in the message, but I didn't have much time for it. And also, this is a little bit of territory that frightens some preachers, some pastors, because they're afraid they're going to undermine people's trust in the English Bibles that we have. But what I would add would be something about the little bit of translation difficulty or difference that we have in that John 1:14 verse, where some say word of the Father and some say word from the Father, and the NIV even said word that came from the Father. So trying to summarize this, what we have here is we do have a trustworthy communication from God. God spoke, He spoke carefully, He spoke as clearly as these things can be. Sometimes they are by nature difficult. Peter says that about Paul's writing. So as clearly as he could. But there are some difficulties just in the communication process itself, and particularly in the Bible communication process. Communication works when someone has an idea, they code it into language, they send it, it's received by the person, and that person interprets it. There are at least 5 things there that can go wrong. Now with God, one of them is eliminated. He cannot incorrectly understand what he's trying to say. He cannot incorrectly encode it, so that's fine. But there still could be a problem in the transmission. It could get garbled. We could not hear it clearly. There could be a problem in the interpretation. And that is what we are dealing with. We have a word that was encoded in 2 languages most of us don't speak, Hebrew and Greek, and then translated into English. And in that process, things can get garbled a little bit. John 1:14 is an example. He gives us a preposition there. And that preposition can have multiple meanings. It can mean of, it can mean from. And so as much as we want to say, hey, this is what God said, we're delivering exactly what God said, all translators and all interpreters, which is all of us as we're reading it, we then have to make a decision, well, what did God mean by that preposition? And so we make the best decision we can. Now, in this case, if you heard the sermon, I said there's at least 3 possibilities. It could be origin, the word that came from God, which is what the NIV thinks. It could be possession, the word that belongs to God, or it could be description, the word that is about God, which is what the O Come All Ye Faithful carol is suggesting. So we have 3 possibilities. The good news here is that all 3 of those possibilities are already correct. So we go in there and we say, well, we're not exactly sure because it's a preposition. Legitimately, the preposition can have several connotations. Fortunately here, there's no bad choice. None of those are bad. We know that all 3 are correct. Jesus did come from the Father. He said that himself. Jesus does belong to the Father. And Jesus is, as I showed you in that sermon, with multiple scripture quotations, verses from other parts of John and other parts of the New Testament, Jesus is about the Father as well. So right away, it's not as bad as it seems. We have 3 choices, but we know from other scriptures, all of them are good. Now we're just trying to do a little extra work and say, well, we want to be exactly sure. We want to know for sure this is what it is. When you're using a translation, then what's going to happen is the translator may make that choice for you. And that's what happened with the NIV. They said, well, we think it's origin. We think it means he came from the Father. And so they put that word came in there. It's not there. I looked. John's Greek is very easy. I know it's easy because I can read it. So I read that verse. I know that word's not there. They put it there. Now you could say, oh my goodness, they're changing the Bible. Well, no. Their philosophy is we want to make this as understandable as possible. Most of the time, that's perfectly fine. Every once in a while, you come to a place like this and it's a little difficult. Now, that's kind of rambly and it's kind of a big picture thing, but here's the idea that we're trying to get to. We do have a solid communication that comes from the greatest source, a source that's inerrant. By the nature of communication, though, there are some difficulties. we can work through those difficulties. And if we can't nail it exactly, we can at least get an idea. This is likely, this is probably, this is possibly what God is saying. And in a case like this, where all the possibilities are good, it's really just a matter of, hey, I'm just trying to figure out the best. So hopefully that makes sense to you. We do have a good word from God. There is going to be some work. He told us there would be some work. He said, you have to search for me. You have to seek me out, working through these translations and these versions and working on some of the more difficult ones. Like this one was mildly difficult. That's just part of the process. So thank you for searching and seeking God with me through that message. Look forward to seeing you again, and we'll continue to search for Him, seek Him together.